For those of us that love watches, there's usually going to be a day in which we have to part ways with one of our watches and sell it. Whether it's to help sell a piece that we no longer enjoy or to help fund an upcoming piece that we have our eyes set on. This day usually is an inevitable one. So how can you ensure that you're doing the right thing when you're selling your watch and avoid that regret that sometimes can come with it? What's going on, everybody? My name is Baldassarre, and in this video, we're gonna be talking about 4 things that you need to consider before parting ways and selling your watch. This was actually a concept brought forth through a comment by NM Identity on one of the previous videos on this channel. So big shout out to you, man, and we're gonna be jumping into it today in the video. So without further ado, let's do it. So the first thing to consider before selling your watch is to give it a new look. Change out the straps on your watch. And the great thing about this is, for one, it's really easy to do, and 2, it helps give you that feeling of buying a new watch without having to spend the money that goes with buying a new watch. I switch out my straps basically daily on my watches, depending on the outfits and how I'm feeling. But another great thing about this is it really does bring new life to a watch that might have been running stale for you. Say you have a diver in which the metal bracelet's just getting a little boring, throw on a leather NATO or a NATO strap on the watch. If you have a dress watch that, you maybe have a reptilian or a crocodile strap on it, instead, maybe bring it down to a more casual level and put like a leather suede strap on there. It's incredibly easy to do, and it's a great way to really see if this watch is, something that you want to sell, because it will give it a new perspective, or will widen your perspective of that watch and how you look at it. If you guys are interested in learning a little bit more about where to buy straps, I've done a whole video on that. I'll link to it down below. I also talk about how you can actually switch out the straps on it. So if you have no idea where to begin with this, tell you what tools you need and also how to do it. And lastly, of course, I have a watch strap line upcoming at the end of the summer. So keep your eyes open for that as well. All right, so the second thing to consider before selling your watch is doing a little bit of change up too, but not to the watch, not to the strap, but to the rest of your ensemble here. So what I mean by that is changing out your outfits with the watch that you're wearing. So for me, what I do, and how, really why I love watches, or a big component to why I love watches, is I think they are just the perfect accessory. They're basically the cherry on top of a well put together outfit. And when I'm thinking about, what watch, goes well with, what clothing, it usually is pick the clothing first and then pick the watch. But if you have a watch that maybe no longer is doing it for you and you're considering selling it, what you can do is pick out that watch and then try to base outfits around it. And if you do find some outfits that work in this process, you might determine that, hey, this is actually a cool watch. I just wasn't using it maybe in the right way. So just another thing to consider. Now, the third thing to consider is put the watch away. And I really mean put it away. Take it off your wrist, take it out of your watch box, and actually get it out of your sight, so you don't see it on a day-to-day basis. See if you can get that new watch feeling with your watch by stepping away from it for maybe like a month. Put it in a drawer for a while, and then revisit it in a month and see if any of the original feelings that you had when you purchased a watch resurface after pulling it out of that drawer. So once you pull it back out a month later, you might find that some feelings will resurface. And once I say that out loud, I realize how weird that sounds. I'm talking to a watch like I'm talking to maybe a significant other. But anyway, disregard my creepiness and my love for watches, and just know that you might find and develop that watch that you originally enjoyed, the reason why you bought it, might resurface. You might find that this watch still has a place in your collection. And if you don't, at least you'll learn the fact that, hey, this is the right move for me to be selling the watch. Now for the last thing to consider before selling your watch, and that is to actually see if these watches are selling on eBay and online, and if there's even a market for them to begin with. Whenever I was considering selling a watch, I would always go on eBay to check how much these watches were actually selling for. First, to see if it was worth it, and 2, if the watches might be going up in value. So a couple examples for this. One would be, when you are selling a watch, you have to determine whether it's worth it or not, especially for these more affordable timepieces, where say you're selling a $50 to $200 watch, and you might only make like half of what you spent on it. You have to make the decision of, is this really worth it? And if you spent more money on that, if you're only gonna make a little bit back in return, is it even worth it at that point? You have to really make that decision for yourself, but just something to consider. In the next point, I'll offer up an example. So I recently sold my Seiko Alpinist. It's a watch that I realized was no longer something I enjoyed. That said, it's a great watch. Don't get mad. I know there's a lot of fans of this watch. However, I did find that there was some regret in selling this watch, and it wasn't because I still liked it or found it was, in line with my style. It was more because the watch was going up in value. These have been discontinued. People are looking for these more and more. They're very popular online. So I may have, left some money on the table by selling it when I did. So there's just another thing to consider. Is the watch going to be going up in value? I don't necessarily think that you should have a watch because of an investment and trying to make a profit on it. But if there is an opportunity there, just something to think about. So just a little bit of eBay advice. I've sold hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of items on eBay. And one of the things that I think is really important is being able to filter not by things that are active listings, but being able to see what things are selling for to really understand what is the worth of your watch. People can post all different types of listings. Nobody's gonna stop somebody from posting a Seiko 5 listing for, saying it's $2,000. However, you have to look at the sold listing to really get a sense of what is the market telling you and how much is that watch really worth. So guys, have you ever sold a watch? And if so, have you ever sold a watch that you regretted? I'd love to hear stories down below. So guys, if you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up, be sure to subscribe, also hit that bell icon so you know when I release content for the future, as well as following me on Instagram. Feel free to slide in the DMs if you have any questions or just want to chat with me. That's probably the best way to reach me on a personal level. And then also be sure to check out our Patreon. We have some great perks on there, monthly live streams, private live streams with me, as well as discounts on our store that will be up and running at the end of the summer. So guys, thank you so much for watching. Be well, and I will see you all very soon.